1% of the population in the world stutter. That's 70 million people. From age 8, I was one of those. And it wasn't just a phase, because the stutter started to become so dominant in my life that I had to adapt to it. So what does that mean? I started to use tricks, and I would use words to switch within my mind so that I wouldn't need to say the word that I would be stuttering on. So for example, if I were going to say, I'm going to go to the movies on Monday, but I knew that Monday was a word that I couldn't say, what would I do? I'm going to go to the movies in the beginning of the week. Or if it were Saturday, I'm going to go the day after tomorrow. Those were things that I would do so that I wouldn't need to face the stutter. It would be good because I wouldn't stutter, or I would pretend that I was fluent, but I wasn't being who I was. Not saying what I wanted to say at the moment that I wanted to say it. So I would always do mental gymnastics in order to survive speaking situations and not really enjoy them. Does anybody here like reading out loud? I envy you. Because when I was in school and I needed to read out loud, or the teacher would say, let's do reading out loud, then I would count the people in the paragraphs before it was my turn. Just before it was my turn, I'd raise my hand, pretend I had to go to the bathroom. I'd sit in the toilet for 5 minutes just to wait and see, okay, I think now it's safe for me to go back in. So you do things without people even noticing it, just to avoid the situation of speaking. Until I went to the Del Ferro Institute, which taught me a speaking method. So it was the first time that I was actually given the possibility of speaking fluent. That means that they gave me a technique where I would learn to control the speech and face the fear. And as you can see, even today, I'm still applying it. I'm still needing to take a break before I continue to speak, but I'm speaking. And that was something that was very important that they taught me, that if you apply the method, then you're good, because you can speak. Because there are so many speech pathologists that tell you that stuttering cannot be overcome. There's no cure for it. So besides the technical aspect of the speaking method, there's also a psychological work that needs to be done, which is self-love. If you can relate, there are so many things that we know that are good for us that we should be doing in order to be the better version of ourselves, but we end up not doing them because we feel embarrassed, because we think people are going to judge us. We think that we're not going to get acceptance from others during the process. So during this process of mine, and for example, on the first day of the course, what I needed to do was speak with the hands on my ribs. So whenever I would say something, I would have to go like this. Hello, my name is Michaela. This was not just in the classroom, this was in public. If you would go to the restaurants, whenever I would speak, I needed to apply this method in order to reprogram the way that I was speaking before. So by learning to apply this method, it was the first time that I was actually finding my voice, literally, because I wasn't speaking anymore, because I would avoid the situation of speaking. The process is something that makes you feel very vulnerable, and also for me it was very, very challenging, because you needed to suddenly disclose your biggest weakness. So something that I was spending all my life trying to hide with all of my forces, suddenly I would say, I'm doing a speech method to overcome stuttering, so please bear with me. pretty difficult for you to suddenly start to prioritize yourself. And I think that a lot of people can relate to that. When you need to achieve a goal and it's really difficult and you just encounter so many obstacles and there's nobody besides you cheering you on, you need to do it by yourself. So that was really an important lesson for me, to be my own a cheerleader, because nobody else was going to do it for me. So if there's anything that you guys can take away from here today, it's that self-love is so important. You need to show up for yourself, because no one else will. And there's a saying that, you know, that we should treat people the way that we want to be treated. But for me, it was I needed to treat myself the way that I was treating others. Thank you.